tricky.
It is. I don't mind it too much, though. It's just a matter of... There we go. All right, and then we'll be live on the screen here in just a couple seconds. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Comics for All. This is Saturday, February 28th, 2026. So the last day of February. So 2 months of this year are already gone. Thank you for joining us wherever you are in the world. My name is Jameson, your host here at Comics for All, a comics librarian, where comics, creativity, and community all connect. As part of our weekly Ink and Insight segment, we get to interview comic creators from all over the place. And today we have Jason. Jason gets to create comics and do all kinds of cool stuff. So, Jason, thank you for coming on the show today. I'm really glad you're here.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I know when you asked me, it took me a few days to get back to you, and I'm glad you did. Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate the invite.
Yeah, of course. There's nothing wrong with taking a little bit of time to answer, and life happens, and just things get in the way, so it's okay.
Yeah, like I told you, my weekdays are just jam packed pretty much, and I mean I do have time at night, but like I would email you back things. It'd be like 2 a.m. because I'm able to like get to those avenues of things. So yeah,
that's right.
It gets busy. Weekends I'm off on weekends, so yeah, it's my free time. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Well, my first question I like to ask everybody, because I'm a comics librarian, is a reader-centric question: is what hooked you into comics as a reader?
Well, it is very young. I can't remember the exact age we were, but my family, we were grocery shopping, and it was me, 2 of my brothers, and then my parents, and they had this deal going on. And mind you, this was like the late 80s, mid to late 80s. And they had a deal going on where if you spent so much money in groceries, you get a free comic book. And so, we ended up getting 3 comic books. My one brother got a Spider-Man book. I don't know if it was a McFarlane one or not. I can't remember to this day. But my other brother had gotten an X-Men book. I think he got like one of the first or one of the either Jim Lee or Silvestri. And then I got Thor 411. So I remember the exact book. So, and that kind of cemented like what we would collect later on. But that's what got us into it, was that event, because right then, we didn't know they existed. Like, yeah, we would watch the Incredible Hulk, on TV, stuff like that. But we never really got into comic books themselves. We never knew that was a thing.
Yeah.
So, I think every kid knows it's a thing, but it's not a thing you like comes into your world until you actually get one in your hands. So, so once we got that, my dad worked for a company called Sears Auto Center. They've been out of business for a while, so I don't know if people really know who they are anymore. But so when he worked, and he had worked with somebody, and he's like, I used to work with somebody. He owns a comic shop now. He's like, we can go there next week, and you guys can go buy some. And from then out the gate. So it was, ever since then, like the bug just bit us. Yeah, we started just buying up what we could. But like I said, my brothers kind of got the cooler stuff, and I was the younger brother, so I got like the not so in things, or like popular things or edgy things. Like I kind of got like the hand me downs, which is kind of good, I guess. So
that's fair. Mm-hmm. So for yourself, when did you realize that you actually wanted to be creative and part of the comics community? When did that happen?
Well, as far as the community, I mean, as a little kid, I think every little kid, once they get a book, they're like, oh, I want to do this. This looks like it'd be fun.
Oh, yeah.
And also, like, we realized there were, like, I've heard and talked to plenty of people, whether they be creators and or just, collectors. They, at a young age, they didn't realize people actually drew these things or wrote these things. They thought they were just like made somehow. They didn't really know there's individual creators. They just thought like a company put them out.
Right.
But we would always like, oh, Ron Frenz drew this, Mark Silvestri. Like we were mainly paying attention to my one brother paid attention more to the writers. But so we always, and ever since then, we're like, oh, somebody actually drew this. Somebody put pen to paper. Now, granted, we're real young, so we're drawing on like 8.5 by 11 little pieces of paper and just, garbage doodles. But it just bit us right out the gate. Like all of us had wanted to get into the scene. And years go by, you grow up, you get old, you party, you do things, you get in and out of things. But I was always been into art, even if it wasn't just comic books, it was just art in general. So it wasn't until later when I was at the comic shop, 7 years ago, And I was like starting to work on a book, and he's like, well, you should just crowdfund it. I'm like, oh, okay. And the shop owner had suggested it. So I'm like, okay, cool. And then it pretty much went from there. But I always wanted to work in comics ever since I was, I would say 10. Let's just simplify, because I was maybe collecting around 7 to 8, but I would say 10 would be more of a more in-depth gauge as to what time frame I was really into. Like, I want to draw comics. Really what I wanted to do was ink my brother's stuff.
There you go.
He was a pencil. He really liked to draw, and I'm like, well, I'll just ink it. My other brother will write it, and we'll be like a team. It never ended up happening, but we always wanted to get into comics, and it was ever since the day one. Like, it wasn't like growing up and you're like finally like, oh, you know what? I always like comic books. Maybe I get into that. I like drawing. No, it was out the gate. Always loved it. So I've always loved creating and telling stories in that regard. And it's just a fascinating thing. And I always thought it was cool. Like, these are characters that, not just characters that like superheroes, but just like they're flawed, but they still overcome obstacles, and and we all do in life. And so like I could relate to Thor, even though I'm not a Norse god. You know what I mean? Like, you can still do that. And I thought that was really cool. It's just an interesting thing that you can influence and inspire people in a way that is just out of the norm. So I think it's, at least I've always loved it. So yeah.
That's a great way to put it, actually. So another reader-centric question I have, and I know not everybody gets to read with work schedules and stuff, but for you, is there anything you've read recently-ish that stuck with you, either indie or major or both?
Well, the question was in there, and I'm like, I tried to answer it for your Substack, and the reason why it's tough for me to answer is because I really don't, and it's not because I just look at the art. I can't really read them because I'm legally blind. So in order for me to read comics, I have to either use a magnifier on my phone and look at each word balloon as it goes, which it then, with just reading a 24-page like floppy and physical, it takes me a good hour and a half, to 2 hours. Digital, I can do it. I still have a magnifier on my computer and I do it. It still takes me like a good 45 minutes to read a floppy, but I can do it a little quicker. So recently, my friend and I, we do a show lately where we've been reviewing comics because we do draw streams all the time. And we were like, you know what? Nobody's really talking about like comics. Everybody's saying new comics are garbage these days. Like, they all can't be bad. There's no way I'd buy them. I look at the art. It's pretty cool. And so we started reading them. And I really like Punisher, Marvel Knights Punisher.
Yes, I haven't got a chance to read it yet.
It was cool. It was awesome. And we even read a Teenage Mutant Turtles Battle Zone. That was an interesting book. We were really surprised by one that we read. It's called like it's a Batman book. It's like a Immortal Legend Batman. We were surprised because neither one of us had heard of it. It didn't appeal to us really as far as our art styles go. Like, it's more of a kind of like a YA manga. But after a while, we're like, this actually isn't too bad. So, but I would say the Punisher Marvel Knights was good. It was really, I really enjoyed that. I've been buying Cul-de-sac. I have yet to read it, and I can't find it online yet. So hopefully I can do that. So, because that way it'd be easier to read. I don't mind opening the floppies and doing it. It's just a lot harder. So being visually impaired, I don't read as many as I want to. I want to read everything I get. It's just hard for me to do. So yeah.
Well, actually, I would love to have you on for a part 2 and actually talk about comics for visually impaired people, because I feel like that's the topic that doesn't get talked about very much in terms of what's the accessibility for people with visual handicaps, because my wife works for the Braille and Talking Book Library for the state library. So I think it'd be a fun conversation for a part 2 for you coming on.
Yeah, and to touch on that real quick, we actually have a huge fan. Her name, she goes by Phantasmagorical. Sweetheart of a human, one of the best individuals I've ever met. And she just recently went fully blind. And she buys original art, and God bless her. Like, she would show it off on a video, and sometimes it'd be upside down. I'm like, Fanta, I love you. You're so sweet. But what I love is also because I feel like she kind of like, especially when she buys my stuff, because some of my stuff is pen and ink, so there's a texture to it. So I think she can also kind of feel it, and just like she gets maybe something out of it. So it's really cool.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So
for the viewers out there who are meeting you for the first time today, how do you introduce yourself as a creator, and what is Unhinged Inc. all about?
I pretty much just say I'm an amateur comic book creator. I don't know. I don't want to say amateur artist, because we've all like most of the people that have been working in the comic industry have even been artists before they were in the comic industry. So I'm a professional artist, but I'm an amateur comic book artist. So I mean, most people want to buy, the comics and stuff like that. So I'm an amateur comic artist. Been doing it for was it 2026? So I've been publishing comics, my comic, for 6 years.
Okay.
I really have only been working. To be real, I've only been working on comics for 6 years. Maybe I'd say 7 to 8 to be realistic, because the first book I ever did, obviously, I lied to you just now. I forgot about one that I did before that. I always forget about this one book, Cannibal Detective. I'd done it decades ago. A guy commissioned me to do it. It was a fun project. My style was very different back then, but that was in my late 20s, early 30s. So I lied to you just now. So, I consider what I've been doing recently to be more, in the field, because that was an online comic. These are published in physical, not the bash online comics. I love them, but I mean, come on, they come in handy for me. So, but an Unhinged Inks actually is a combination of me and my. I don't want to just say colors, because he's more than that. But right now he's coloring Frog G. But it's between him and me. He goes by Ink Spots, and so. My company is Unhinged Entertainment, and so we just combined Unhinged and then Ink.
That makes sense.
From Ink Spots. We did want the domain name unhingedink.com, but somebody had taken it. So we have unhingedinks.com, but it is Unhinged Ink. And so it's just anything that him and I work on together is Unhinged Ink at that point then. So whether it be Frog G, we have a flip book coming out that we're kind of working on. So anything that him and I touch, that's under that moniker. Now I have Unhinged Entertainment, where my own IPs and stuff will come under that. And like, if he does anything on his own, if he wants to use Unhinged Ink, fine. It's not like it's a mandatory thing.
Got it.
So, I could even still put whatever I put out from here on out under that. It works. We've been friends for a long time now, but he's a fantastic collaborator, a great artist and storyteller. So it's just a combination of us, and that's where that came about. And then you got his logo and my logo just combined together. And we did this before. My other I do a show called Topicless with my friend Death Metal Hero, and he did that. He meshed our logos together. It's just because my logo is a head, so anybody else who has a head logo, we could just squish them together and make one. So yeah,
it turned out great. And for the viewers out there, I put the unhingedinks.com in the chat, so make sure to go check that out. It'll also be in the description of the video when we post it on YouTube. So if you're not able to make this live video, don't worry, it'll be in the description when we post it on YouTube.
Like and subscribe, everyone out there, by the way, if you're watching on the replay.
That's right. So kind of diving into your style and influences now, your work has been described as gritty, high contrast, kind of album cover meets indie comic. How did that visual identity evolve for you over the years? How have you developed those skills?
Yeah, and that, like I said, I did that one comic before. My style was different even then. Late, like it's still, you could see bits of me in there. But and growing up, as I said, I collected Thor. I was heavily influenced by, not influenced, but I saw, Kirby and Ron Franz, and the more, Simonson, the more tighter guys, you know what I mean? Like, the guys that are just more comic book style, even John Byrne, stuff like that. But it wasn't until later where I started seeing people like Sam Keith and, noticing Bill Sienkiewicz and, stuff like that. And then one of my favorite artists today is Jonathan Weishak. And dude, forget about it. The guy is he's a great person too. I met him in person. He's a wonderful person. But so after seeing these guys, I'm like, I kind of like that, and I was incorporating more of the cross hatching and stuff, and not knowing what I was doing, but I was trying to do it. So you could tell it's amateurish, and it still is. I mean, everybody can improve, but I started to lean that way, and it started to lean even more with the degradation of my vision. So it kind of plays hand in hand, because I can't see so crisply. So the messiness looks tight. And so I'm like, okay, well, it's good. And it just leans into it, So, I mean, hopefully, things, even, I always say, if I could see fully, I would probably still draw the way I do. If I could see, if we get, AI into our eyeballs and I see 20/20 vision, which I think, something like that is going to happen eventually.
Very much well. It could happen.
Yeah. Technology's amazing. So I think once that happens, I think it'll be a tighter chaos, and it'll kind of go back to where I was, but even better because I've been doing it longer. So, and my technique would be a little more refined since I've been establishing and trying more, actual technique rather than just go at it. So, yeah, I mean, it just grew through over the years because of my vision on top of everything else. Like I kind of had no choice but to lean into it, and it's hard. I envy the people that can do a clean style and tight styles, and I can do it in a way when I do digital, but that's not my style. You know what I mean? Like, so I would kind of be cheating myself if I just went ahead and just started doing like Neil Adams type stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like I could do it digitally by zooming in and make sure everything is tight. And the way I work is kind of like that already, but not. We can get into that later if you want. But I just think that would not be fair to myself. So when I work digital, even though I can make it tighter and cleaner, I purposely don't. I let it just be messy. So because it's just not the way I work. So yeah, it's mainly the vision is what leaned into it even more, and I had to rely more on shape and everything else. So yeah,
love that though. I think the style really lends itself to being unique in that it stands out in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I like my style. I'm a fan of it. I even have a couple friends that are, it's not their bag, and that's fine. That's fine. They like what they like.
Yeah,
people are allowed to have different tastes, I do know it is a very unique style. And the album art type style thing even came out because of an artist named Derek Hess. He's a Cleveland. I live in Ohio, just outside of Cleveland. And he's a Cleveland-based artist. He did band posters for bars in the area and stuff. He did band posters for like Crowbar, Pantera.
There we go.
Drunken Lizard, I think the name of the band. I can't remember the name of the band. Or what? Something Lizard. Jesus Lizard. He do these posters, and they're just wacky, cool posters, but they're so loose and sketchy, and just it's all relying on movement.
Yes.
Like there's the anatomy is there. Like the guy's a fantastic illustrator. Derek Hess is dope. I recommend everybody looking him up. But incorporating what he did in with, like, I would do just weird, wacky, just drawings, like whatever came out of my head, and I took that then and I implemented that into comics as well. So that's where it all comes into play. It almost meshes all together because I got out of comics for so long. And I was doing just that for like 10 years. So,
got it.
It just ended up. And then when I got back into comics, my first book, you could still see some of it. I still wanted that to be more of a comic focused thing, but there's parts where you're like, oh, I could see, where he's influenced by, outside sources from comics. So, yeah.
Gotcha. And that actually leans right into my next question is, which artists or non-comics influences, music, film, are baked into you as a creator, even if it doesn't actually necessarily show up on the page necessarily?
Well, I love fine art as far as goes. I love Rembrandt. I think.
Oh yeah,
Rembrandt's so good. Albrecht Dürer.
Yes, I love that dude.
Dürer's dope, dude. His
artwork is phenomenal.
So good. So I stuff like that it really interests me. Like I love the classic, Renaissance painters and stuff. Obviously, in sculptors, like they're influential. How can you not, notice them? And music is a huge part of. I don't know. Just looking, I think a lot of people who look at my art, I think they would think of it. But music is big, and with me, just growing up, I've always been surrounded by it because I was friends with people in bands all the time. I mean, obviously, I do their posters and stuff, but I love metal and alternative mainly. But what people wouldn't like looking at my artwork, like I like Leonard Cohen. I think he's great. He's fantastic. Not recently, but like over the past several years, you get older and you learn to appreciate music. Like Prince is fantastic.
Oh my goodness,
you can't go wrong with Prince. Like I mainly listen to classical music when I'm writing. So like I like Chopin and Brahms whenever I'm writing and stuff like that. So looking at my art, you wouldn't think this stuff, but I do have a wide variety of interests. And oh, pardon me, I'm drinking these Celsiuses. They do make me burp, but they're delicious.
They are good.
They are good. But yeah, it's like there's so much that you could be inspired by on the outside. I don't get outside world as much because I can't drive, so I can't go out. And I just don't like to bug people.
Yeah.
But interacting with human beings as well is another inspiration and influence. When you talk and interact and engage with people, even in just a regular conversation, it can just spark your creativity and imagination. So, yeah,
100%.
there's a lot of outside sources, but it is mainly like I'll put on music and I like it on shuffle, and whatever comes on comes on. Even rock bands, there's a band called Idea Men. They're really good. Uh, they're not metal at all. I like the wacky stuff like Mr. Bungle and Tub Ring.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that doesn't show as much in the art. Like if you look at the art, you wouldn't think that, but yeah. So those are some of those outside like things you wouldn't think of whenever you see my stuff. It's just, yeah, I think people are more deep than what is on the surface level, but the surface level is important too. So
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah.
So the main thing we're going to be talking about today is the deep dive into Frog G and the Cerebus Key, which is your crowdfunding campaign going on right now. So for the viewers out there, can you give us the pitch? What is Frog G and the Cerebus Key, and who is this frog that we're following?
Yeah, Frog G in the Cerberus Key it's the second book actually. So that will lead into other questions I think you might have or had coming. I did read the questionnaire. It's just my brain sucks. I don't have any else.
No worries.
My own brain ran out, so now I'm out of brain. But no, and I'm gonna try the pitch. We're not as good at it as the other person who I'll talk about later, but it continues the story of Frog who goes into the underworld. Crosses the river Styx and into the abyss where he has to fight the Cerberus. Will he get the key to unlock the door to get to the evil bad guy, or will he become feast for the denizens of the underworld? Now, the pitch sucked when I did it because the guy who wrote it is actually one of the co-creators of Frog G that people may not know about, who is Frog G.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. It's weird, but it's not. So Frog G came about. This is a fantasy fairy epic tale. So that's what Frog G is. It's kind of like a mix of Hellboy meets Spider-Man, kind of, or the Brothers Grimm. So
There we go.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's adventurous. It's awesome. We're having a blast doing it. This is some of Inkspots and my best artwork on this book that we've ever done together. It's so good. I can't just hype it up enough. Really, there's nothing I can't. He's doing amazing work as far as the colors go, and I've done some banger pages that I love. But the guy Frog G himself was a mod in the chat, and that's kind of how Frog G came about.
Okay.
He would hang out. I had a book before Frog G called Absolute. I was funding the second campaign, and in it, instead of a drawn interior, because I had the book done, I had the book fully drawn. I was writing it whenever it was campaigning, and so I couldn't have a drawn interior. A lot of people like those that, you back it, you could be drawn into the book. And I'm like, well, I've already got the book done. So what I did was I created trading cards. So you could become a trading card. You could create your own character. And on the back, there would be second edition D&D stats.
Uh-huh.
So you could play your character in Dungeons and Dragons, or even like all the other ones. You could port it in a way you want. It had stats and everything. So
cool.
Yeah, it was dope. I played Dungeons and Dragons up until I was about 20. So big Dungeons and Dragons nerd growing up. So I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool. And then so one guy backed it. The one tier, Global Frequency, great human being, nefarious. We love you. And then Frog G, who's a mod in chats, who would always be around, backed the other one. So I would work with the person, and we'd work back and forth on what you would want and what the character would look like. So he came up with I would be like, oh, okay, he has to be a frog, obviously. I want him to have a goatee, and I'm a mechanic, so I want him to be a mechanic. I'm like, okay, cool. So that's how Frog G came about. And he actually came up with the pitch the best. And he wrote it down. It's in his Twitter, his X bio, or
Nice.
pinned link. Yeah. So every time Inkspots and I, we try to pitch that one, and we always fail miserably because he wrote a perfect pitch for it. We're like, Frog, you killed it. So yeah, it came about because of that. And then Inkspots also, put then his colors on it. I asked him to color it because I always liked what he did.
Yeah, I love the coloring on this right here. It's fantastic.
His name is William Palazzo. He goes by Inkspots mainly, so that's why I will call him Inkspots. I even call him Inkspots when we're in private talking. Yeah, it's his name. But he's so good. Like I think he is underrated in the indie comic sphere that I hang out with, especially also. Like not my friends, but just people outside of it. Like he's underestimated and underrated. He's so talented, and I am blessed to actually have him be working on this, because let alone is he not just good, but his style and my style, it just meshes. Like it definitely overlaps. When I first saw his work, I wanted like a Frank Miller, Lynn Varley type vibe. Where like, you know, you just see Frank Miller, you think Dark Knight Returns, you got those colors over it, it fits. And it's kind of what happened. And it just, because I saw his colors, I'm like, I think he would look really good coloring my sketchy stuff.
Yeah, and also the Frank Miller Daredevil run.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Nice. I actually have the I think of the artist edition. So yeah. I love that run, by the way. I try to pick up doubles whenever I can.
And that actually goes right into my next question: is what have you enjoyed about Frog G as a character? What makes him to fun, and what makes him fun to draw and write?
Frog is just totally fun because he's first off, it's all fantasy, so I get to make as many monsters and creatures and, you know, whatever I want out of my head, and it can fit. It just makes sense. So I could go as crazy as I want, and it works. As far as drawing Frog goes, and he's also kind of my way of drawing Spider-Man.
Okay.
Because he's skinny, he's limber, you know, he hops and jumps, he can, you know, pose in different angles and stuff like that. So that's what makes him fun to do as well. Like Spider-Man is not one of the things I've always been aching to draw, but I love drawing him. You know, because I could just almost bend him in any way I want, and now I could do that with Frog, and it's just, I guess I love fantasy. You know, Conan, you can't go wrong. You know, you got Beastmaster and all that cool stuff, but it's just great. And then like even like you have the angler fish pirate captain guy here. He's actually Karan the boatman. But whenever we were writing the first one, we wanted to come up with the boatman, and I was like, oh, how about an angler fish? And I'm like, yeah. So it's just, I could just do what I want, and it makes it so enjoyable to have that freedom. Now, I will say a downside is I don't really draw too many humans, so you kind of get a little tired of drawing frogs all the time. But it's still so, because I could be super expressive with him. It is funny. Inkspots and I will joke, like no panel of Frog looks like the other Frog. Like
there you go.
I draw him differently almost every time, but he looks the same. It's just, and I love doing that. I love being able to have that liberty to be like, well, yeah, it's a fantasy, so like his tools change sometimes. Well, it's a magical tool belt, so they can look different. They alternate. Like there's no holds barred as far as it goes. You know, it's the gloves are off, and it's
right.
And as far as writing it, I mean, Inkspots and I, we get together and we co-write it. So it is a true collaboration. Like it's not just I draw it, he colors it, and then, you know, I pay him. He owns part of Frog. So does Frog G. We all own a part of Frog. So he's a true collaboration. So we get together, we write it together. So we'll bounce off of one another. And he's whimsical and witty, and he's sarcastic because he doesn't think half of this is real anyway. He thinks as what happened to the end in Frog 1. It's not really a spoiler, but back Frog G1 also, you can catch up on the campaign. But he gets cursed and he wakes up as a frog. So he's a dude working in a mechanic shop. And then he gets cursed by this witch. And so when he wakes up, he just thinks he's in a fever dream then. At this point. He wakes up as a frog. You know, you're like, oh, this has to be a nightmare. So he's just constant. So writing it, he's always just like being like, you know, out of world, out of mind. He's displaced him. We tend to throw little like weird things, a little nod to the hats to the things we like. Like what in the first book, he comes into a room. He's like, nice place, lots of space. And that's from Batman. In this one, there's a Tommy Boy quote in this one.
Oh, nice.
So, dude, we're having fun with it, man, and we're having such a blast. It's so much fun working on Frog. It really is.
Well, kind of leaning into that fun. Is there a particular sequence or panel or a page that you're really proud of? You like, you know, we're working really in tandem here, and this is like we're firing on all cylinders here on this particular page or sequence.
They're all so good. I mean, I hate saying that, but they are really good. One of my favorites is there's a couple 2-page spreads. The one worked out where I drew I kind of drew like here, I'll let me this way. No, I don't know. But I drew like a quarter of it, right? So like it'd be like from here to down here, like the rest of the bottom half was all blank. So because it's a kraken coming out and attacking a boat. So the waves are on top. I drew all the top half, but I left the bottom half blank for ink spots to just do whatever he wanted. Like
right.
And I do that a lot with ink. I'm like, dude, just do what you want. Make the background. You could have skulls back there, weird, ghosts or something. I don't care. Have fun with it. And that's what makes this so cool. So that 2-page spread came out dope because of what ink did and how because he did acrylic painting over top of it. He didn't
okay.
Actual, like, he printed up the pages and he did full on. It's so good. It came out beautifully. And then I think it's on the campaign page where Frog is he's kind of got his arms back, like he's about to blast the Kraken with his light. And it's just the energy because I drew it a certain way with the motion and like I added splatter and smears and stuff. I'm like, oh, I hope he translate, and the way he colored it, it was perfect. Like I don't ever have to tell ink, no, I want it colored this way, ever. So usually it doesn't come out to be a banger anyway, but that panel just came out. I'm like, that's one of my favorite panels in the whole book almost right now, because it melded so beautifully with the energy that I put in, and with the light sources and all the extra additives that he added.
Right.
It popped, man. It was so good. But I see pages because he's still coloring it. Life happens. We'll talk about that later. But I see pages now. I'm like, dude, that's amazing. Like, there's even a page where he comes into a maze, kind of like it's a maze. It's I don't know. My brain.
Labyrinth.
Thank you. Those are words. They're hard.
There we go.
But so he comes across a labyrinth, and it's just him walking, and there's the gate, and then he's walking through the labyrinth. That's it. It's not a huge action. Ink colored it so great that in the way that I drew it with the way as tough as it was, because I think there's like 9 panels on that page, and it was not easy. And the panel layouts that I did, I thought they were fun, and we're comic nerds, so we love panel layouts even. Like,
oh yeah,
I'm like, I'm gonna stack them this way. So the way I laid out the panels, I loved it, and then the way he colored it, that page came out great. And that's a recent page, not too long ago, that he had colored. So I still get new stuff where I'm like, this is a banger, dude. Like, this is one of the best ones. This is one of the best ones. So this book is just awesome. Yeah.
Well, that's a great lead into my next question is, how far ahead have you mapped the world of Frog G? Is this kind of a contained story, a standalone, or kind of more of a longer saga within like kind of your shared IPs?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of all of that. So, as I said, this is book 2, but there's 3 books in this story arc. Each one is 48 pages as far as Frog story goes, because there's extra content along with those. But the Frog story is 48 pages in each one, and so there's going to be 3 of those. So there's one more after this, and then after that, there's going to be a bit of a break. But then once we go back to Frog, because we have more stories with Frog G, and his name is Jeremiah Blacksmith.
There we go.
Yeah, he's kind of our nod to Spawn. He's a black guy, so it was our little like nod to like Todd McFarlane's Spawn.
There you go.
Yeah. So, but the rest of them are going to be kind of him adventuring in our world,
right?
So, but they're going to be solo stories. We like doing the arc. It's fun. It's great. One, it takes up a lot of time. Not only that, especially when you're crowdfunding it and it's not your full-time job. It's not like you could pop out a book every month or 2. So people waiting a year in between books, it's a bit much. So we kind of want to just have self-contained stories, whether they be 72 pages, 96 pages, so on and so forth. Just self-contained stories that maybe we can even break up later into single issues for Dark Horse or Image or whatever indie publisher that would have us. So there is more Frog stories for sure. Like we won't run out, because like I said, with Ink really did a lot of the story construction, the lore for Frog as far as character development goes, and what he has done with it, where he implemented not just fantasy but also mythology and incorporated like gods and deities and demons and demigods, and so like you can go like the sky's the limit, because you could just do whatever you want at that point. And we're mixing a lot of the things together. Like we have Death, who doesn't look like Death. He's kind of like this weird cloaked figure, but he's got tentacles and like these butterfly moth wings. His eyes are sewn shut, but he's got eyeballs for teeth. Like we just went all out. Like he's a combined of like a Native American folklore along with Norse mythology, along with so we really are just having a good time and like just creating things from other things as well. So
right, I love that.
So they're really we have more frog stories, but we have other stories as well. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, and for the viewers out there, I already put the Indiegogo campaign link in the chat. I've got it pulled up on the screen here. Jason, if you can walk us through a couple of the reward items, original art pieces, commissions, variant covers. What can you share about on that end for us?
Yeah, you get the basic tiers. Just the basic thing is just you get Frog G2. Like you could just back it if you want. If you already have the first one, or you don't even care about the first one, which you should buy that too. But there's also a one with a variant cover. You showed it earlier by Carl Stefan, aka Chubbs. I'm actually wearing his book, Merry Boys. I'm wearing his shirt. Chubbs is fantastic. He's one of my favorite indie artists. But he's got a variant cover on this campaign for us, so you could get the main cover and the variant cover in one tier also.
There we go.
You save a little bit of money if you do it that way. So I do recommend doing that. If you already have book one, you can add book one on. You can add on. I think the variant covers in the main cover. I think is its own tier because we only have a select amount of that first printing of the main cover. So, but you can catch up. Obviously, there is original artwork. You can get original interior pages. You can get original painted pages by Ink Spots.
Love that.
Along with the inked page of it. You can get sketch cards that come with the book. So if you back a sketch card, either you can get a sketch card by me or a sketch card by me and colored by ink traditionally. Though both of those come with the book. So we have a lot on this campaign for everybody at an affordable price. So it's 52 pages total. 52. 48 and 56 pages total.
There we go.
I math, eventually we'll get there with the artist. So because there's 48 pages of Frog, and then there's also an 8-page backstory that our friend Hockey drew. He drew a book called Curiosities and Oddities Emporium, the dress. Don't say it too fast or you'll stumble over it. He's a great artist, and so we wanted him to do this backup story of the voodoo priestess, the one who cursed Frog G. It's her story. So it's in the book. So you don't have to back anything else to get it. It's already in the book.
Got it.
Yeah. So the book is 56 pages, but it's 48 pages of the Frog story, and then the 8 pages on top of that. So it's that's at I think $18 if you get just the book. So a lot of crowdfunders are 25 to 20, and there's nothing wrong with that. They used to be, but we're like, you know what? Economy sucks.
Right.
We don't have that much cash. Let's lower the price a little bit. We even lowered the shipping. So we tried to save as much money as we could for other people while not like totally breaking our bank as well. So yeah. So you can get a tier customized for whoever you are. Yeah.
Love that. My next question is kind of what are the plans on fulfillment and how are you keeping kind of backers up to date on kind of what the status of that is for it?
Yeah, we were supposed to be fulfilling this month, and like you said, like I told you, it's not like it's a private thing. Ink Spots' wife recently broke her leg, so he's been having to deal with that, like taking care of everything around the house, plus his full-time plumbing job, and then have maybe half a minute to color something. So he isn't like, I'm not throwing him under the bus. He will admit, he's behind because of life has happened on his end, but life happened on my end, on all of our ends. But and that's not the only thing that he has the worst luck of anyone I've ever known in my life. But
oh man,
yeah, he's not far off from finishing. So I'm hoping this will, he'll be finishing with the colors, and then we'll finish writing it. Hopefully, do the printers by end of next month. So, and then fulfillment would be, whenever we get the books in after that. So, a couple months for shipping, hopefully. Like I can't, I'm not going to promise anybody anything because like life happens. I was fortunate where I finished I don't have as much responsibility as he does. So I can draw the pages and work on them like 4 to 5 hours in the night. I finished my pages. All the line work is done. So my pages have all been done for a while, but that's just because all I have to do is go to work, come home, work out, and then draw. So like, I don't really do much of anything else. So I can finish a little earlier. But hopefully with fulfillment, we're hoping maximum a couple months. Hopefully, I can't promise anything. We had as much done as we possibly could before we launched the campaign. So
yes, there you go.
Most campaigns are a year long. Ours is, I think, our deadline. I think was only like 5 or 6 months. So because we had so much done.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, well, we could put it out by then. So we probably should have pushed it, but we didn't want to put out a year, so it still won't be a year, which is good. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Well, my next question is actually a really fun one that I get to ask every creator who comes on is, can you share a really kind of memorable or fun experience, either from, being as a fan going to a convention, or, someone gave you really cool reader feedback, or someone has, approached your work and has kind of given you a different perspective, something along those lines that you can share with us?
I would say probably, well, one of the most memorable things was back in 92, the convention. We went to, we got a thing where we can go to San Diego Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was in 92. I live in Ohio. Like, going to San Diego Comic-Con really isn't something we do every year. So
it's I even live in the state, and it's still quite a challenge. So.
Yeah, exactly. So it's tough. My one friend, Dan Plagle, he's been there a few times. Great dude, great artist. But we had a thing where we can go to San Diego Comic-Con. It was in 92, and it was the Jack Kirby's birthday. We had all these things. So there's a few events from that came about. What happened was my brother had gotten a Make-A-Wish, and so he wished to meet Stan Lee. So
okay,
that was kind of a bummer, but not. We were told we were going to have like a half hour with Stan or something like that. We're going to sit down and talk to him. I don't think his PR people knew it. So like we got a photo op with him for like he was signing. They pulled him aside for like a little bit. He signed a couple things for us, and we took a photo, and that was pretty much it. It was still cool, you get to meet Stan Lee. Sadly, I don't have the book. I had it signed back then anymore. I was in my early 20s, and somebody had sold it for me. Idiot move. I do have a couple things still signed by Stan, but
nice.
they're like little cards. They're like a little head sketch card of Stan Lee, and they're cool. But what was really cool was and Rob Liefeld gets a lot of flack. I'm not a huge fan of his artwork. I like his energy, but he's not somebody who's influenced me. But my brother loved Rob Liefeld.
Okay.
And this wasn't even supposed to happen, but the lady, the one of the people running the conventions or doing something, she walked to my brother. She's like, "Do you want to meet Rob Liefeld?" He was like, "Yeah." So Rob wasn't even supposed to meet him. Didn't even know anything about this. This was never planned. So she took him behind the Image signing booth because that's when Image Comics had launched. So I had got Shadowhawks #1 and Savage Dragon #1. I got all these things signed because they just came out, and so huge line. You have all these artists there, and then she takes him behind. Rob's like talking to my brother. My brother's showing him his artwork. Rob's like giving him some pointers, and I could only watch it. I wasn't pulled back there. So
right,
like he even wrote on the back of it, keep up the great work, stuff like that. So Rob, I still even will bash Rob Liefeld from time to time, also because I'm a grown man. I do what I want, but I will always have a high opinion of him because of something like that. Like he was so cool, so nice to the fans, so nice to this kid. Like so that was a memorable thing. That's really dope. And also I got to meet Jack Kirby accidentally. So that was pretty dope. Yeah. It was on the convention floor, and we were just, I can't remember what we were doing. Like my dad was like looking at something. I was looking at a comic. I look over and there's two people were talking. I'm like, "Dad, that's Jack Kirby." And I even shook his hand. I'm like, "Hey, can you sign this?" He's like, "Well, I can't sign it because if I sign that, everybody else is going to want me to sign their stuff." And it wasn't like, "Oh, how do you know that was Jack?" Well, first off, I've seen photos of Jack Kirby even as a kid. And also it was his birthday. Later on, we went into the convention hall where he was cutting his cake and like they celebrated his birthday. And so there was that guy. So it was obviously Jack Kirby. And I also, what I put in my head later on, I think he had such bad like arthritis or something because his wife had to help him cut the cake because he was shaking.
Okay.
So I think that's also why he was like kind of late, reserved about signing it. I think his muscles just like his control wasn't there, so he didn't really want to do it. That's a theory, but yeah, I got to shake Jack Kirby's hand, which being a young kid, I shouldn't even know who he is, let alone get to meet him. So that was awesome. That was
no kidding. That's
experience. Yeah,
freaking love that.
And there's been plenty of cons that I've gone to where I've been behind the table with fans and stuff that have just been memorable. I don't know if that's what you also were referring to.
Yeah, that too. Yeah,
like recently, it was a few years back at Baltimore. This one little kid just came up to me. He was just so excited. He's like, "Yeah, I've been working on my own comic." It's like, and this kid was fantastic. The confidence of this little kid. I say he maybe had to be anywhere from 8 to 12. I'm not great with ages, but he's like, yeah, I'm the best in my class. It's like everybody, my teachers like say, oh, you get. It's like, yeah, I'm better than I'd say better than most people in here. I'm like, all right, man, let's pump the brakes here. You got, David Finch over there. Let's calm down. But his confidence level was so fantastic. It was great. And I was at Heroes last year, and I love talking kind of just to the younger people, but I tend to wear sometimes like metal shirts and I look like a metalhead. So I got people talking, like this kid will come up to me. He's like, yeah. And they'll be talking to me about like their creative endeavors, what they're looking forward to doing or implementing. Like this one kid's a musician and he wants to incorporate that into a comic book also. And we were like, he came back a couple of times. I think, and I don't care if they buy anything. Half the time they don't. And it's cool because I'm just sitting there talking to these kids that are just so inspired. Mm-hmm. By my, and I'm being nice when I say this, by my garbage. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like you got all these famous people here, all these like Alex Meleev is over there with his portfolio out and you're talking to me. I'm like, that's dope. That's pretty cool. And so I like it when the kids come around and they're like, oh, this is really different and awesome. And yeah. And so like usually the people that have like, they spark that interest, like they share an interest with me, like, music or a approach or a concept. And it's just so much. It's so much fun, man.
Speaking of conventions, can you share with us where you're going to be the next month or two if you're attending any conventions as a creator or a fan?
Yeah, sadly, as of right now, it's just Heroes, which is great. I'm happy to be there. I loved it last year. I'm gonna be there again this year. That's June 12th through the 14th. There's a couple in Ohio that I have yet to hit up because they all hit me up in December when I'm trying to buy Christmas gifts.
Right.
Yeah, so I can't be like, hey, yeah, I'd love to come. Oh, here's my $100 table fee. I don't have the money, so I gotta email them back and find out if there's still tables available and stuff like that. I tend to do NeoCon, which is in like mid Ohio. I've been trying to focus on the Ohio area because I can't drive, so my mom drives me around. I always call her mother out of a just a Norman Bates type joke.
There you go.
Yeah, it's people get a kick out of it, but so she drives me around. I don't want a 70-year-old woman driving, hours and hours and hours on end for, a convention and getting worn out. So I've been trying to stay more local. So there's a few cons that I'm trying to hit up that are they're more mid-Ohio centric. But I have yet to book any right now. So as of just yet, it's Heroes Con. So which is still good. Heroes Con is great. Everybody should check it out when they can. Yeah.
Perfect. So at least what you can talk about, what else do you have in the works for the rest of 2026? I know you can't maybe talk about everything, but at least what you can.
I can talk about everything, my friend. For 2026, Ink is going to finish up this book. We will have a Heroes Con exclusive variant cover for Frog.
There you go.
That's gonna be dope. We will have a few extra left over probably because so maybe after Heroes, if people are interested and we have like 2 or 3 left over, hit us up. It's gonna be a wraparound cover. It's gonna be dope.
Ooh, anyway, I love wraparounds.
Yeah, dude, it's really sick. It's a frog fighting one of the plant monsters in the book. It's so good. But we have a flip book coming out, like I mentioned that earlier. In this is cool. Back in the day, you'd have the flip book. You'd have somebody draw a story on one side, flip it over, and then there's another story somebody else did. So I'm doing 12-page story in that. It's about a Native American. I say Indian. If it's not PC, I'm sorry, everybody. But it's about an Indian woman fighting a bunch of giants. Not really in depth or deep. And then flip it over, and he has his character. He might be doing his character. He's not sure if he's going to do another IP story with it. That's why I don't know 100%. The other problem with that is I'm drawing the cover, and he's going to do like a paint over of it.
Okay.
So I got to know what he's doing so I can make the cover. So, but Frog G is the main focus right now, but that in 2026 the flip book and that, and then also Frog G3.
Okay.
So because once I'm done with my pages of the flip book, I'm gonna go into Frog G3. I might try to put a little like maybe 12 something together for. I know it's not called this anymore because Diamond's copyrighted, but for Free Comic Book Day, I want to do something for that. But if I have time, if not, fine, it's no big deal. But because I will be outside my LCS, I'm outside my local comic shop in Mentor, Ohio, every now and then. So if you live in the Northeast Ohio area, everybody, Comics and Friends, go follow them on Facebook, and every now and then they'll announce when I'm there. But
excellent.
yeah. So maybe something for Free Comic Day. But right now it's Frog G2, Flipbook, Frog G3. After Frog G3, you're looking at outside of 2026. I'll be doing going back to my Absolute. Those were my first 2 books that I did, and I have a bunch of stories for that. And the Flipbook half is another Absolute story. It's kind of like Sin City. It's different characters and but all under the same little tight niched area.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what my thing is. So I'll have more Absolute stories outside of 2026, ink spots, and then more Frog stuff. We're going to kind of go back and forth. The way we want to do this is we have our main stories like Frog, and then we'll put out like a flip book, or we do Frog and then I do an Absolute once, so 2 books a year is what we're aiming for.
Got it.
One be probably really big story, the other one like a 24-pager. Like that way we're always kind of putting out product and hopefully get into like Dark Horse, which is what we would love, and get into the LCSs. Making this a living, that's the ideal idea.
Of course.
He is, he doesn't want to be a plumber. He's good at it, but he doesn't want to do it. I don't want to do what I'm doing for a living. Like, yeah, it's a paycheck. I get great medical, but if I could do artwork for the rest of my life, that's what I would rather do.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, Jason, where can people find you and Unhinged Inks online and follow along with what's going on?
Well, you can find me. It's usually Jason Bascom. You can find me usually anywhere, but it is Unhinged Ink or Unhinged Ent. I go by that, Unhinged Entertainment. So Unhinged Ent.
There we go.
So it's at Unhinged Ent on X. Jason Bascom on Instagram and on Facebook. I don't have a Substack. Like everybody asks me about Substack. I'm like I can only do so much social media.
I know it's hard. There's so many platforms.
So many platforms. Then you got to post each one. You're looking at like the Mary Boys. That guy Chubbs, his wife actually helps him promote. Which I'm like, dude, that's a blessing.
Absolutely, it is.
That takes a lot of weight off your shoulders. So so yes, you can find me on social media around generally. If you look up Jason Bascom, because even on Twitter I changed it instead of just Unhinged, it's now Jason Bascom. So you should be able to find me there. Unhingedinks.com. Unhingedinks.com. That's me and ink spots. So you can find, we have art for sale there. You can get Absolute there, comics. You can get Frog 1 variant cover up there as well. Original artwork is there. Still kind of fleshing out that website. My friend Billy Basco, Great Colors, he designed it for us and he showed us how to upload stuff, but I forgot again. So he's gonna have to go in and show me again. But there's some original artwork on there you can buy. So yeah, and then there's links to the campaign in there as well. So you just click something to redirect you. So
excellent.
Yeah, go to Unhinged Inks for almost everything. Yeah,
love that. So my last question to close us out is a odd one but a fun one. Do you have a favorite snack or meal to eat something before you sit down for a few hours and get through some projects?
My main thing, because usually I get home and I do things 3 days a week. I try to work out, but I am a huge chicken guy. I love chicken Caesar wraps. So yeah. So I will generally cook some chicken or grill up some chicken and it's quick. I grill up, just season it. There you go. And all you gotta do is just fold it all up and put they're quick. That's my favorite probably is chicken Caesar wraps. But that's if I'm making dinner. So yeah. Now a post. Sometimes I'll snack on something when I'm done drawing or something. Everyone go eat Frito-Lay's jalapeno and cheddar dip. It's so good.
Oh yeah, that stuff is phenomenal.
Delicious. Can't go wrong. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, that brings us to the end of our conversation today. Jason, I really appreciate you coming on the channel today. Is there any last thoughts you'd like to share with the viewers before we head out?
I mean, just read comics, read books. I would if I could read more, especially. But check out, go look at indie creators, go look at indie artists, support your LCS. Comic book scene really isn't what it was when I was younger in the '90s and stuff. So, and okay, let me say this. I'm sorry. I know we're closing. I've been I'm guilty of it a little bit, but I hate spec buying. People who do speculation buying, like, oh, this character is going to be in the next Spider-Man movie, so let's all buy the comic now. Buy the comic because you want to read it.
Yep,
that's it. Like
100%.
Like if you want to find out how Tombstone came to be a Spider-Man villain, yeah, go investigate it, but don't do it just because he's in the movie. Go read comics because you love the comic. Go look at the interior. Don't I buy variants as well, but I also look at the interior of the book. Yes. I'm not like, oh, this is the next David Mack variant, and I don't know what the inside even looks like. Like, look at the interior of a book. Like, these things are comics. They're supposed to be flipped or read. Now, yes, they are valuable because Americans made them that way. I'm not a huge manga collector. I have some. But that's why I do like manga. They treat it like a consumable product that they can be entertained by and enjoy, and then they pass it on. They put it down. They call it what it is. And hey, that's great. And so is like them. Like I have they're over there, like old Thor comics that I recently picked up but I got them because I'm missing them. They're Jack Kirby art on the interiors. They're even ones that are worth like a good amount of money. I flipped through them. Look through your comic books, people, please. And hey, if you have one that's super valuable and you're afraid to crack it open, go get a trade or a reprint. I like spec buying. I get it, and I understand why people do it, but it also is going to kill the industry again. We had that big bubble in the '90s, and it popped because everybody was like, "Oh, Spider-Man #1 is going to be worth a lot of money." It's like, yeah, it's worth $20 now. Great job. A 30-year-old comic book is now worth $20. I comics way older than that are worth way more than that. There's a reason why. They weren't massively overprinted. So, and I can't fault anybody for that, but the companies, they were making their money. So yeah, that's what would probably be my rant is like, look at your comic books, people. Read them. If you don't even like to read them, you like the artwork. Look at the artwork. If you hate artwork and like reading them, read them. Consume them in the way they're meant to be. Don't just buy them because they might be worth money one day. That's what happened in the '90s. That's what killed the comic industry, and is still trying to recover from it. So yeah, sorry for ranting.
No, but that's relevant. It's still relevant till today. So
it still is. Like I was just watching a stream also. That's they were talking about. Yeah, this is going to appear in this, so I'm going to buy. I'm like, no, that's the wrong reason. I'm like, buy it because it's cool. It's cool.
That's right.
That's it. Just buy it because they're fun and awesome and entertaining. And like, I'm condensing my comics because I can't. I'm like, what am I? I'm not going to look through any Valiant books anymore. So why not send them to shops, see if I can get a couple bucks for them, pass them on to somebody else that might be able to get them for $1 or 50 cents, and they can maybe some kid's going to look at Bloodshot or whatever, and oh, this is cool, and be inspired and want to do comics now. You never know where it's going to come from. So
that's right. And I love that,
books, people. Yeah.
All right, everybody out there. So that's the end of our Ink and Insight talk today with Jason. Again, Jason, yeah, of course. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. So everybody out there, thanks for sticking with us, and we'll see you next time. This has been Comics for All, where comics, creativity, and community all connect. Thank you again.
Thank you.